Hi, Stevo again, and there's a couple things I want to talk about. Donald Trump going back to the White House is probably the main thing I wanted to talk about, and also the explaining myself about the last video I did early this morning about Joe Biden. And the thing is that yeah, Joe Biden did put together legislation that did some harm to people. And I understand that. But I also understand we live in a two-party system. And we live in a broken system that's been broken for years. It's a broken system that's been broken for years. And I think it's the responsibility of the people to pressure Biden to put together progressive legislation. And that's the main thing I wanted to talk about. Biden has been a politician since early 1970s. He's worked with Dixiecrats. He's you know, he's a politician. He did what he did to survive. And I don't condone it at all. But since we live in a two-party system, I think it's very important for people to be politically active, people who've never been politically active before, and to pressure the Biden administration to revisit the 1990s police legislation that he put together in the 90s. And, you know, the Republicans were the majority in the House and the Senate when Bill Clinton was president. And Bill Clinton wanted to get a second term. And he had to work with the Republicans because the Republicans were the majority. Rush Limbaugh was big. He was huge. Well, he's a huge man anyways, but he was big on TV and he was big on the radio. And he was more powerful than the president. And so Clinton had to compete with a lot of powerful Republicans. And to get a second term, Clinton had to put together right-wing legislative laws that he did out of survival. Because Clinton is just like Biden, a Republican Democrat. He's probably more right-wing than we know. And he's a politician, just like Biden. But I think it's more important for people to be politically active and to, vote for Biden. And I have issues with Biden because I'm far to the left and I don't condone what he did at all, period. But Biden can be the hero if you pressure Biden when he becomes president to put together progressive laws when it comes to police reform. But it's up to the people. You got to vote for Biden, and you got to put his feet to the fire and say we need progressive laws. So I'm not on Biden's side at all. But I know the reality, even as a far leftist, to know that we live in a two-party system. And, it's sad. It's sad. And hopefully in the future, we could have more than a two-party legitimate system in the future. And, you gotta stand up for yourselves. The way people stood up, the abolitionists stood up to Lincoln, the way people stood up to FDR, the way people stood up to JFK, the way people stood up to LBJ. You got to read your history books, and you got to stand up to these politicians to get things done. But you got to vote for them first. And Donald Trump is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. We all know that Donald Trump has COVID. We all know he's a spreader. We all know that majority of the people of the White House has COVID. Kayleigh McEnany, that idiot, She has COVID. And not too long ago, about just a couple minutes ago, Donald Trump flew from Walter Reed to the White House, and he has COVID. He needs to be quarantined for 14 days because he'll spread COVID to other people. So that's actual proof that Donald Trump doesn't care. That's another evidence that you should not vote for Donald Trump, because he doesn't care. He doesn't care who he infects with COVID. He doesn't give a damn. He doesn't care. I mean, we're living in the twilight zone. I think 2020 is a fucking twilight zone. I'm 52 years old, and this is the most stressful year in recent memory. And I've lived 52 years. And I don't remember a year that's been so fucking stressful. I don't remember a year. And I don't remember a time when it's so important to vote. You know? And it's so important to confront these politicians. Vote and confront these politicians. And you know, and that's what you need to do. And, you know, Trump he doesn't care about anybody. You know, he doesn't give a damn about, you know, the Secret Service, the butlers, people at the White House that work for him. He's a super spreader of this disease, of this virus. And it's actual evidence that he's lost his fucking mind. It's actual evidence that he's lost his fucking mind. And if you vote for Trump, you're nuttier than a fruitcake. If you vote for Trump, you're nuttier than a fruitcake. I don't see any redeeming qualities in Donald Trump. I don't see any redeeming qualities. He's been impeached by the House of Representatives. He's been in with the Mueller report, and the Mueller and Robert Mueller says that he is responsible for Russia collusion, and he's going to be litigated after he's president for Russia collusion. Trump didn't get away with Russia collusion. He didn't get away with it. Mueller just says that there's not enough evidence that he could be impeached at that time. And there's not enough evidence to really litigate him as president. But once he's a private citizen, he's going to be sued up the wazoo. You know? He's going to be sued, and Trump knows it. Trump knows he's toast. He's toast. He's toast. You know, the Trump University, which was a scam, and I forgot to mention, he was scamming people of this Trump University, and taking people's money and scamming people, and he scammed people with his own organizations and all that stuff. He's a scam artist. He's a con man. And he's an evil motherfucker. And if you think that Trump should get another 4 years, you're sick in your fucking head. You're sick. You're sick. You know? This system has been broken for years. And that's why we have a two-party system. This system has been broken for years. And that's why we have only two legitimate politicians running for president. Because we have a broken system. You know? We've had a broken system for years. And it's sad. It's sad. Because we are taught as Americans that let politicians do what politicians do, and go to the football game and the baseball game and feed your face and let politicians do what they do. But we forgot that we're the people. It's in the Constitution that we are the people. And we do have a right to happiness, to the pursuit of happiness. Are we happy? Is any American happy? In this whole year of 2020, has any American happy? The death of George Floyd and is anyone out there happy? The pursuit of happiness, which is in the Constitution. And you Americans have a right to be happy. But you got to stop feeding your face and sitting on your ass and doing nothing. It is your duty to vote. And I know Biden is a dickwad, but can Biden step up to the plate like LBJ stepped up to the plate? And we got to remind Biden that Biden works for us. You can't just vote and go home and drink a beer and sit back and burp and fart or whatever you do. You need to pressure these politicians. The way the abolitionist group did, the way people in the Great Depression did, the way the civil rights people did in the 60s, and the anti-war people in the 60s, the women's rights movement, the gay rights movement in the 70s. They pressured politicians. That's the only way you get things done. And I wanted to explain myself for this morning. I was half asleep and, and I had it all in my head what I was going to say, and it just, as soon as I get nervous when I'm live and everything, and I don't have notes, and that's why I repeat myself, because I don't have notes, and I don't, I get nervous, and when I get nervous, I repeat myself, and my bad, and I can't have videos over 15 minutes because I'm an older guy. YouTube won't accept videos over 15 minutes. So I have to beat the clock, and then I get nervous and tongue-tied and blah, 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 and all this shit. And I sound like an idiot. I sound like a fucking idiot. And I'm not for Joe Biden. But I'm not for Trump either. I'm definitely not for Trump. But I'm a realist to the point that I'm a vote for Joe Biden. I don't want to, because we have a two-party system. But and hopefully a lot of people pressure Joe Biden to put together progressive, strong legislative laws, and that's what you need to do. You can't just sit on your laurels and, let's drink a beer and watch the game and get fat and sassy. You got to do something. So, vote. And let's vote Donald Trump out of office in November the 3rd. So, I'll see you when I see you, and I hope you had a nice day.